30 years ago, in a cramped college apartment, Daniel Harper taped a poster of the Colorado Rockies to his wall, swearing to his roommates he'd wake up to that VYEW someday. They laughed, slurping instant noodles, but Daniel meant every word. After decades grinding as a software engineer, pinching pennies, he finally did it. Bought 5 acres of pristine land just outside Denver, where the mountains stretched like a promise kept. At 55, he retired early, built his dream ranch-style home, and positioned every window to frame those Rockies. The wraparound porch was his sanctuary, where he'd sip coffee at dawn and whiskey at dusk, watching sunsets paint the peaks in fire and gold. For 2 weeks, life was perfect. Then the survey stakes appeared. At first, Daniel thought little of the markers on the neighboring land. Another dreamer, maybe. But when bulldozers roared in, he learned the truth. The Crestwood Heights Homeowners Association, led by Catherine Voss, a 62-year-old former real estate shark with a smile as cold as her silver hair, was erecting a 5-story condo tower. It would stand like a wall between Daniel's home and his $1 million VYEW. Furious, he stormed to the HOA's office, a gaudy building with gold-lettered signs. Catherine barely glanced up from her papers. "Mr. Harper, we have all permits in order," she said, her voice dripping with faux sympathy. "This has been planned for years." When Daniel pushed for a lower building, she laughed a sharp, mocking sound that lit a fuse in him. "If you wanted protected VYUs, you should have bought in Crestwood," she sneered. That laugh would cost her. Daniel wasn't one to roll over. At the county office, he unearthed a bombshell. The original plan was for 3 stories, not 5, with shady amendments rushed through. His neighbor, Tom Riley, a grizzled 40-year-old carpenter, filled in the gaps. "Catherine's been pulling this for years," Tom said, leaning on his beat-up Ford. "She builds eyesores to tank nearby property values, buys cheap, then expands Crestwood. It's her playbook." Tom's family had fought her off once, and he saw the same fire in Daniel. A lawyer confirmed the HOA's legal right to build, but Daniel's mind churned. Late one night, staring at the moonlit stakes, a memory from a property law class sparked an idea. Trees. Tall, fast-growing trees could block their sunlight, just as they blocked his VYEW. At Sunrise Nursery, Daniel met Lisa Morgan, a 45-year-old with dirt under her nails and a grudge against HOAs. "Catherine forced me to rip out my garden once," Lisa said, her eyes glinting. "She recommended hybrid poplars, thuja green giants, silver maples, and Leland cypress trees that could soar to 50 feet in 6 years. You're not just planting trees," she said, tossing soil through her fingers. "You're building a monument to justice." Daniel enlisted his old friend, Mark Evans, an environmental engineer, who mapped sunlight patterns with eerie precision. "Morning sun blocked by maples, midday by poplars, afternoon by cypress," Mark explained, his 3D models glowing on screen. A lawyer, James Carter, confirmed no laws would be broken. "They can't control how tall your trees grow," he said with a grin. Daniel's plan was audacious. 100 trees, Dulaw 50,000 in saplings, irrigation, and care. He started subtly, planting flowering dogwoods and redbuds to mask his intent. Crestwood spies nosy residents and luxury SUV snooped, but Daniel played dumb, calling it a greening project. Catherine's first salvo came as a letter, warning his green barrier threatened community harmony. Daniel fired back, citing his legal rights. When Catherine tried to push a tree height ordinance through her ally, Councilman Robert Pierce, Daniel fought back at a packed town meeting. Armed with aerial photos and ecological data, he argued trees boosted property values and air quality. The town's building inspector, Sarah Brooks, backed him, and the ordinance failed 5-2. Catherine's icy glare promised war. The battle escalated. Daniel's security cameras caught Crestwood workers poisoning his trees at 2 a.m., their uniforms clear in the footage. Rage surged, but he stayed calm, filing a police report with Officer Nathan Cole. "Criminal mischief and trespassing," Nathan confirmed. Catherine confronted Daniel as he planted towering silver maples. "You're messing with the wrong person, Harper," she hissed from her Mercedes. I have connections. Daniel leaned close. These trees will be 50 feet tall soon. Wonder how much sun Crestwood will get then. Her mask slipped, fury flashing in her eyes. Catherine's condo tower rose, but Daniel's trees grew faster, poplars shooting up 10 feet in months. She struck on multiple fronts: false insect complaints, water usage probes, fire hazard petitions, all debunked. A local reporter, Emmeline Gwynn, 33, infiltrated a Crestwood meeting where Catherine called Daniel a community threat and plotted to force him out. Emily's article, Saw the Green War, Nature versus Concrete Saw, exposed Catherine's tactics, including a last-minute height change from 3 to 5 stories. Public support swung to Daniel. Neighbors offered help, environmental students studied his trees. Catherine rushed construction, ignoring noise laws and cutting corners, but mistakes piled up: faulty concrete, subpar beams. The tide turned when Emily connected with Catherine's ex-husband, Gerald Hayes, 65. Over coffee he spilled, Catherine had manipulated property values for years, buying low after HOA stunts, then selling high to Crestwood. It's made her millions, he said, but left a trail of broken neighbors. Emily found victims like Maria Lopez, harassed into selling her townhouse for pennies after fabricated violations. A permit re-VYEW by Environmental Commissioner Laura Bennett revealed forged signatures and missing shadow studies. Catherine faced fraud and bribery charges. In court, Catherine's lawsuit claiming Daniel's trees caused pollen damage crumbled. Judge Margaret Lane saw through the nonsense. Then Robert Pierce, sweating under investigation, confessed to taking $10,000 from Catherine to push the height change. The judge dismissed the case and referred Catherine for prosecution. Outside, Catherine cornered Daniel. The building's almost done. You've lost, she spat. Daniel pointed to his towering trees. Nature wins, Vas. Her hands shook as she fled. Catherine's empire collapsed. Financial records exposed a decade of scams. She took a plea, 3 years probation, $1 million in restitution, and a ban from HOA rolls. Crestwood's board ousted her, and the condo, stuck at 3 stories after code violations, became unsellable. Sun-drenched, units shrouded in shadow. Buyers dubbed it the cave. Listings slashed prices from $500,000 to $350,000, with no takers. The new HOA president, Ellen Foster, a retired teacher, proposed a deal: convert the top floors into community gardens if Daniel thinned some trees. Mayor Claire Adams mediated, envisioning a green model for the town. Daniel agreed, securing a covenant limiting future buildings to 3 stories. His trees stayed, a lush barrier hosting deer and birds, cooling his land by 15 degrees. The gardens bloomed, and Daniel's property became a local gem, toured by garden clubs and studied by ecologists. 2 years later, Daniel sat on his porch, mountains glowing in the sunset above the 3-story condo. The VYEW wasn't his original dream, but it was enough. Kids played under his maples, their laughter mingling with birdsong. Tom dropped by with a beer. Join the HOA's Green Committee? He asked. Daniel smiled. Maybe. Every tree's shade for someone new. His revenge had grown into a legacia forest that outlasted greed. Pro-VYing nature could fight back and win.